Okay, the short story is we want to build a house on the top of our hill. We started this project in 2022 by digging into the hillside with our digger. We want to be dug into the hill because that will keep our house cool in the increasingly long and hot summers here in the region. And since we had a working digger, that was an easy choice to make. But then in November of 2022, our digger broke down and it hasn't worked since. At first we had the hope it was a simple fix and that we could start building soon. But in July of last year it became clear that the engine needed to come out and be taken apart completely. Initially we were told that this would take about 10 hours of work, but it ended up being 6 months. I now have a deep understanding of what a Tantalaian torment is, a never-ending just another 2 weeks. But because this machine makes building so much easier, we really wanted to believe that we could start soon with the digger. The proverbial carrot on a stick of a working machine prevented us from starting by hand. Waiting was really hard and frustrating, but we always have plenty of things to do to keep us busy. Before we got the engine back, we had some time to chip everything we caught of the olive trees this fall. This was 3 afternoons of hard work, cutting everything up first and then pushing it through the chipper. The end result is great, but it has to be said it's not easy. And then, after waiting for 6 months, Maarten could finally pick up the digger engine and we could start on getting it back up and running. And at the very least, for a little while, we were not dependent on someone else to work on it. While simple, we are not professional mechanics, so putting everything back together went slow but steady. A few things, like fuel lines, did still need replacing. So a lot of driving up and down to get different parts also took up quite some time.
So it's been 7 months,
Yes.
but it's back in the excavator. It took some years of my life. The latest thing that happened was that the top bolt here broke off, and then I got an extractor tool, and then the extractor tool broke off. So now it's just there. And it's gonna stay there, and we're not gonna think about it again, unless someone else has another great idea to get this out of the head. We didn't use what other people use, an engine hoist, because we are on non-level ground and soft ground, so it has the tendency of moving about, and it only has like 2 points where it really digs in. We bought struts, 4 of them, and then our lovely neighbor with the welder welded it all together. We bought this winch of our friend for 25 euros, I think it was, something like that, working, and it has a capacity of 250 kilos. Small engines don't weigh that much, so it was able to lift it. This worked perfectly. This is great because you can center it so that it's level on the top. So you're always lifting level, and these can extend to a certain degree. It's also cheaper than buying an engine hoist, and we can use this for future well cleaning. And it runs on the small BLUETTI, because it's only 500 watts, and that can manage 600 watts. So it's in. And now we have to start attaching all the stuff back onto it and see which seals or gaskets we have to replace. And we have new mics.
Cool.
Maybe you should do a drone shot of this now. This is the water pump and the thermostat housing. There's never been a thermostat in here. I had to flip this thing around when I got a new radiator in there, because the opening was on the other side. And then I found that there was a stick in here. And I asked Frank why. And he said he didn't know, but the mechanic that worked on this put the stick in and said it was fine. And yeah, I'm all for using stuff that you have laying around, but this is kind of weird. So now that the engine is rebuilt, I figured let's invest in a thermostat. And then I asked what kind of thermostat needs to go in here, and that's like one of those wax ones, really simple. But there are 2 sizes, 52 mil and 54 mil. So now I have to open it up, free the stick, and measure. Look at this beautiful stick. It's not rusty at all in here. Jesus Christ.
That's fine.
So I'm definitely gonna clean this up, but this is one.
While Maarten works on the digger, I try to keep up with some of the farm work. As you can see from my dress, the weather was unusually warm this winter. We had quite a few days that felt like early summer, but it was January. We also had plenty of rain though, and the sun made for very pleasant working in the field, so I can't really complain. Slowly but surely we put all the pieces of the digger back together. Maarten had to refit the radiator and made a new mount, because that bolt that broke off was pretty essential in the previous construction. But that's at least a pro of working with old machines like this. You can usually find another way to make it fit. Hi, before we continue this drama, I want to talk to you about something else, namely BLUETTI. You might remember last fall we installed a new battery from BLUETTI, and since we've used it for a good couple months now, I'd like to talk to you about our setup and how it has worked for us. As you know, we are fully off-grid and have been for a few years now. We quickly learned that reliable energy is so important in keeping a life off-grid comfortable, as we needed to run our modern appliances so that we can do other things. Before the winter, BLUETTI was so kind to send us the EP500Pro, and safe to say, we love it. It more than doubled our storage capacity from 2200 watt hours in the AC200 Max to 5100 watt hours in this bigger model. Given that it is a lithium iron phosphate battery, LiFePO for short, it is quite heavy, but that is no issue for us since we keep it in our battery house. For those of you that live in a normal house, it does come with wheels, so it is easy to move around your house when needed. We prefer LiFePO batteries over the other available options because they are very stable and can run a few thousand cycles before their performance is impacted. For off-grid situations like ours, it can have up to 2400 watt of solar panel input. You can obviously also charge it from the grid or with a generator. At the moment, we have 5 panels hooked onto the battery for charging, bringing in a max of about 1400 watts. For the most part, this is sufficient for us, but on the days that we have a lot of rain and a lot of consecutive rainy days, the battery does get quite low. So in an ideal situation, we would expand our solar array up to the 2400 watts that the battery can take, so that we can use the system up to its full capacity and also keep the battery topped up on those rainier days. The other option would have been to charge it with the generator, but our generator was not working properly when we needed it, so we haven't been able to test this out and don't know how quickly that would charge the battery. On sunny day, we take full advantage of the electricity being produced and we run our washing machine and dishwasher without any issues. On not so rainy days, we are a little bit more reserved in how we use our energy, but we can still run our fridge and laptop without the battery running out. To keep an eye on how full the battery is, we use the BLUETTI app, which is great and easy to use. I know this kind of power station is quite the investment, but I do really think that if you have the ability, it is a great option. Mostly because it's so easy to install. It is a plug-and-go system, so there is no need to puzzle with cables and inverters and all the other things that make solar installation so complicated. BLUETTI offers a wide range of products, so there is something for everyone. If you have any questions about the EP500Pro or any of the other models, feel free to leave a question in the comments down below and Maarten and I will be happy to answer them. If you'd like to check out the EP500Pro or any of the other products that BLUETTI offers, I will have a link in the description box. And now, back to all the trouble. And then finally, after a lot of puzzling and cursing, we had everything back together and it was time to start trying if it would start again after all this time.
Just on the starter, so that we can turn it around without it starting, so that the oil can go places. Cool. That's what I heard from other people that are starting up old stuff.
You still make it sound like it's going to work.
We're hopeful.
Are you?
Can you look whether it's leaking anywhere? I can stop pouring. I did the little tap on the bottom. I closed it.
Shall I manually pump it as well?
You can, yeah. Ooh, there we go. Let's fuel filter come on. No?
Yeah. And you've got a fuel filter in the
Yeah.
second one. It's getting stiff. Oh yeah, we got leakage out of all the injectors. They're not
We're just gonna tighten these bottom ones up then.
Well, at least we got fuel all the way through it.
Yeah.
Probably good to actually have those loose.
So we tried. And again. And again. But it still wouldn't start. Finding the problem with this digger has been the hardest puzzle we've ever done. But because it's an old machine, and thus pretty basic in essence, I still think it's one that we can solve. So we continued working on it and testing theories. We cleaned up the electrical, taking out wires that clearly hadn't been connected for a long time and were for non-essential things. We also checked the connection to the essential systems to figure out if that might be the issue.
I don't even need your hands. So it's through here, I should be able to continue with my hands.
Feeling confident with the electric, we tried again. And it still wouldn't start.
Okay, nog een keer.
In between all this puzzling, I'm continuing to work on the garden. With rising food costs and limited income, the garden has become essential in providing us with fresh vegetables throughout the year. So to get ahead for the spring, I've planted new broccoli and cabbage starts, as well as direct seeded some peas, greens and beets. Okay.
So we tried many things, and I think we found the culprit, but we're going to test it. I think the injectors or the atomizers, because they're not really injectors, are clogged somehow or carboned over. And one way that I found you can test these things is to connect them outside of the head to the fuel input and just turn the engine over. It should allow fuel to come out of the nozzle and be vaporized, and in order to not make a huge mess, we put a bottle over it. Unfortunately, I can only reach 2 of the 3 nozzles with the bottle, so it will still be a little bit of a mess, but It should be alright, just no open flames around, but it's also diesel, so it doesn't really ignite unless it's under pressure, so it should be alright. Maybe you can start the engine there. Alright, well, not alright. Nothing is coming out. I do know that there is fuel coming through because it's leaking at the point of the injector pump. It may be the injection pump that's the issue, but I don't think so because that was working just fine. And these ones are definitely clogged because I also can't get anything through with like a brake cleaner, what I've seen other people on the internet do, and there's nothing coming out, so that makes me believe that there is nothing coming through and it's clogged.
Okay, dus wat is de volgende stap?
Next step is to get them serviced. I don't know if I can do that myself. I'm not trying, so I'll bring them to the shop and get them serviced. Yeah.
The trees, they are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn.
While we waited to get a quote on the injectors, I decided this was a good time to work some more on the soil in my second garden plot. I had planted fava beans in the fall, which are thriving, but I never got around to planting peas in the second half of this garden. To test out a new for me way of building soil, I wanted to spread some peas and fava beans in this area and then mulch them with the wood chips we created earlier. Peas and fava beans should act as a nitrogen fixer, and the wood chip and olive leaves add biomass to break down over time. I'll probably have to tarp the area before planting next fall, as it's not completely weed free, but I'm excited to see what comes from this.
The nights are turning colder, soon the falling of the frost, soon the summer will be over. You feel the change is closer at the welcome of the dawn. They are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn. Though the warm days are over, they are not forever gone. Like the dust brings the night, the summer brings the fall. It won't be long till harvest comes. Morning breaks, the welcome of the dawn. Daylight is calling, welcome of the dawn.
After about a week, we got a quote back on the injectors and realized we could get new ones for less. But then, because Portugal is Portugal, we had to wait another 2 weeks for the injectors to be returned to us, which was incredibly frustrating. Once again, there was nothing we could do but wait. I really wanted to end this video with the digger finally starting again, but it wasn't in the cards yet. The new injectors are due to arrive this week, and then we will try again. For now, we practice our patience and keep ourselves busy with other things. I realize some of you might be very excited to watch us build a house, and that is upcoming, but I've decided to treat this project a little bit differently from most YouTubers. So instead of giving you a weekly or a bi-weekly update on what we've been up to, I want to treat it more like a television series, and so that means that we are going to film for quite a long time without showing you anything. And then I'm gonna hopefully make some very good solid episodes that don't show every little step that we take, but just like really take you along in the process. So that means that we're gonna build up quite a bit of footage before we're gonna start showing anything. So for now, you have to practice patience, and I'll keep sharing the homesteading side of things because that's always something that we're also doing. And then in the future, you can see what we get up to with the house. Anyway, that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.